Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Preservation Resource Center's virtual shotgun house tour presented by Entablature Design Build and Entablature Realty. Thank you so much for joining us once again for a Shotgun Sunday. We're so happy to have you here. My name is Danielle Del Sol. I'm the Executive Director of the Preservation Resource Center of New Orleans. We have already enjoyed several incredible tours of shotguns so far as part of the series. We're very, very excited to be doing so once again today on a Shotgun Sunday. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited that we are going to be visiting the uptown home of Morgan and Topher England today, which is located at 3660 Laurel Street. As you know, the Shotgun House Tour is a fundraiser for the Preservation Resource Center, and you know, our spring events were all canceled due to the pandemic, and we are really hoping that you will be willing to support us today with a donation. Our suggested donation price is $25, which is the price of a ticket, and you can donate today by visiting our website, which is www.prcno.org, and you can donate $25, you can donate $5, whatever you're able. We are so grateful for everyone's support, and we're so grateful for all of you who have made donations, become members, supported the PRC so far throughout this series. It truly makes such a huge difference to us as we try and financially make our way through this very difficult time. So thank you so much. We're truly grateful for all of your support. While you're on our website, you can become a member of the PRC. Memberships start at $35 for a one-year membership, and you get lots of really wonderful benefits. You get preservation in print, delivered to your home mailbox 9 times a year. It's a fantastic magazine. We have people tell us every month that they read it cover to cover. They just love it. You get free admission to some of our online webinars. And when we're back in person together, you'll get free admission to several of our in-person events, and also reduced ticket prices to some of our bigger fundraisers. And you'll also get discounts on merchandise, which is really great because we have some phenomenal merchandise. Let me show you just a few of the items that we have that you can purchase on our website, prcno.org. We're carrying masks now. These are really comfortable quilted masks. They're breathable. Well, they're breathable in that they don't make you uncomfortable, but they're also obviously safe. They're meant to keep you safe during the pandemic. So they have come with 4 great patterns. This is one of my favorites. This is the colorful vernacular architecture pattern. You can purchase masks. They come in a variety of sizes. You can purchase our beautiful coffee table book, Building on the Past, Saving Historic New Orleans, which came out last fall. It makes an incredible gift, birthdays, holidays. It's a wonderful gift for anybody who loves our historic, beautiful city and stories about how it has been brought back building by building, neighborhood by neighborhood. So check that out. We have tote bags, t-shirts, lots of really great PRC merch to show your support for our 46-year-old organization and show your true love for the wonderful city of New Orleans. So check it out. You're really going to enjoy shopping. I want to thank the sponsors who have made today's programming possible. It has really only been possible thanks to our incredible sponsors of this event who, you know, when we let them know that it was going to be virtual this year instead of in person, they stuck by our side and they understood and they still gave generously to the PRC, and we are so eternally grateful to them. First and foremost to Entablature Design Build and Entablature Realty, who have been incredible lead sponsors for a few years now. We also want to thank our event chairs and sponsors, the Graham Bell Parker Group of Ladder and Bloom, who have worked with us to take this virtual, to make this work with iMoto. They've been incredible support throughout this whole event series, so thank you so much to them. I want to thank Louisiane Tea, whose delicious ready-to-drink beverages can be found at your local grocery store, convenience stores. Today, I'm trying the unsweetened tea, which is absolutely delicious. And of course, this is my PRC Mignon Faget glasses, which you can also buy on our website. So thank you, Louisiane Tea. It's the perfect August shotgun house for drink. A few more thank yous. Thank you to the New Orleans Architecture Tours Group, Zangara and Partners, Hamilton Brothers Construction, LLC. Thank you to Shack of Homa, the Southern Animal Foundation, Albert Architecture, the Audubon Title Insurance Agency, Crescent Title, Margaret Stewart, Sarah and Doug Stokes, Atomic Architecture, Cypress Building Conservation, Drink Beauty, Orient Express, and Wida Laudamy of Hill Riddle Jr. and Associates. Also, a special thank you to Hancock Whitney, who, in addition to supporting our Shotgun House Tour, are the first bank to sign on to support our new Revival Grant program, where the PRC is giving free home repairs in historic districts to low-income homeowners. And we're very proud to have launched this program in partnership with the HDLC, the Historic District Landmarks Commission at the City of New Orleans, working hand in hand with them to help low-income homeowners stay in the neighborhoods that they make so special by remediating HDLC violations at their homes. So we're working in Tremay currently and have helped several homeowners, and it's a really wonderful program. So check it out, consider donating to the program. Thank you so much to Hancock Whitney for their support of that program. Thank you to all of our PRC members, donors, supporters for making this virtual programming possible. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for your constant love of the PRC and your support of the work that we do. I'm going to share a quick, very cool cocktail commercial that you can check out. It's using Louisiana tea and showing you how you can make the perfect August summer cocktail using Louisiana as a base. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you this fabulous video. So thanks again to Louisiana Tea. They have so many great flavors. I've been trying a different one each week, and it's been really a pleasure to host these tours and get a different fun drink every Sunday evening. I have a few orders of business. Another drink recipe. Okay, a few order of business before we get started. We're just about there. I want to explain to those of you who are new to this this format, that if you're joining us via Zoom, if you registered on our website and you're joining us via Zoom, you can see me, but I cannot see you. However, you can communicate with me and the homeowners via the chat button and the question and answer button. I'll be moderating, I'll be looking at those screens throughout the whole presentation. So I'm going to jump in during the tour, ask the homeowners questions that you send to me. I'll relay those to the homeowners. Also, at the end of the tour, we'll have a few more minutes for questions and answers. So send in all the questions you might have during the tour, and those will be asked to the homeowners. If we don't get to it during the live presentation, I'll follow up after the presentation. So without further ado, let's hand it over to Morgan and Topher at their home uptown. Morgan and Topher, are you there?
Hey everybody, Morgan.
Topher.
Welcome to our home. Let's go check it out. Does anyone else feel like we're on MTV Cribs?
Back up, girls.
All right, welcome. You're walking here into our dining room. We're excited to have y'all here. Thank you, PRC, for showcasing our house that we love so much. Obviously, it's a shotgun Sunday. This is a shotgun home. Something that we really love about our house is, for the most part, you can really get a sense of what the original layout of this home was by the way that it's still laid out based on the walls that still exist. So to give you a sense right now, because being a shotgun, you can see pretty far down and already kind of tell, you walk right into the dining room that goes onto the kitchen and then further back, and there's this center wall here that back when this house was originally built in 1916 was the center dividing wall between the two double sides. So basically one family, actually it was a multi-generational family that lived between the two sides when it was first built. One part of that family lived on side one, which for the way it's laid out now is all of the kind of public space. And then side two is over on the other side of this center wall, which you're gonna see throughout. Those are all the bedrooms and kind of more private spaces. There have been some changes made over the years. The house is a little over 100 years old. Back in the day, the kitchens, for example, were always all the way at the back. That's obviously different now, but in a lot of ways you can still see that original layout as you walk through, and that's one of the things we really love about this place. Looking through, you can also see a lot of historic details have been kept intact. For example, I mean, you could see it from right out front, the really awesome stained glass windows that we absolutely love. We've noticed a few other homes in our neighborhood that are seem to be a similar style to ours, but ours seems to be the only one with these colors, and I think they're the most vibrant, so I'm really proud of them, and I really love them.
And we're a big fan of the picket style stained glass. And some of the other things that we really like is that almost every door here has a transom window above it, so the house feels so light. Like there's so much light that suffuses into the house, you know, at all times of the day. So it never feels like a, you know, a dark cave.
Other cool things that you're going to see throughout that original to the house, there are a ton of fireplaces in this place, which is a blessing and a baby curse, but mainly a blessing. They give a lot of character. Obviously, being in New Orleans, these are not no longer working fireplaces. You'll see them in just about every room we go into. Fun fact, there is a hidden one behind a wall, which we will point out later, that used to be visible, but has since been closed in. Other cool details that you can see, just kind of touching on all the historic points that you can see from this room. We do have the original pocket doors as well, and they do work. I'm always really terrible at doing them, so that's always like one of Topher's tasks when we want to close them. That's kind of useful too. Like you figure you make a really hot dinner, you know, it's August in New Orleans, temperature-wise, it's really slow right now. They also, you can tell they're historic. You want to come eat and like have a cool, relaxing, comfortable dinner, you can close these off and come eat in the dining room and be really comfortable. It's a kind of nice benefit to them. Of course, not everything in here is historic. So for example, you can see our awesome chandelier that we really love. We do like to shop local. We're just a few blocks off Magazine Street here in New Orleans, so there are a lot of cool shops and boutiques. But we also do go to West Elm from time to time. They're really nearby, and this was a West Elm purchase. And then finally, kind of rounding out some of the stuff in the room, he probably won't say this himself, so I will. Topher is an incredible carpenter and has actually made a lot of the things that you see in the home. My favorite piece that he's ever made is our dining table, which I absolutely love. People are always kind of raving about it, and I'm always so proud of the work he did on it. Cool thing about it is it's extendable. So it actually has some hidden leaves that you can't otherwise tell, because this is, you know, a big single piece, but you can lift it up, bring those out. So I'll kind of point out some of the pieces that Topher made as we go through the house. Anything else you can talk about in this room?
I think that's it.
You can see that in the pandemic, I've started to become kind of a plant mom. I feel like this room shows it more than any of the others. Yeah, anything else in here?
Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the front bedroom. This is kind of our guest room, and in the pandemic, during work from home mode, this has really turned into an important office space. So you can see, you know, the work from home office over here, the bed that's not in view of your work from home camera and video chat, which is very important. But it also serves as bike storage for how we get about. So I'm a big fan and big supporter of Bike Easy, another nonprofit that I highly recommend you guys check out. And biking around New Orleans at this time of year might be a little hot, but most times of the year it's a totally doable thing. So
I had mentioned the fireplace that we see in the dining room. You can see in most instances it's mirrored on the other side, right? So this fireplace is split by that center wall that again used to be the dividing line between the two residences. So you can see it here as well. But really great use space for us. And I love the view out front as well. And again, that you get kind of the benefit of the stained glass. Some other fun art, Topher mentioned being on a lot of Zoom calls, as a lot of us are doing these days, and how thankfully you can't see the bed in the background, but you can see our Dr. Bob, Be Nice or Leave. Subtle or not so subtle thing that you know, we have right in front of all our guests when they come to visit from Mardi Gras. Everyone's always been very lovely and very nice. Actually, our really good friends, Brian and Kate, who got it for us, are frequent visitors who use this room. So I think they understand. Now, an issue that a lot of people feel they have with shotguns, and we've experienced living in this city and renting shotguns in the past, is traditionally people don't really know how you can live in a shotgun when you have a family, especially a young family. We have a nearly 2-year-old son, because oftentimes with a shotgun you think, I need to walk through each bedroom to get to the next room, and that can be very inconvenient. Something we fell in love with this house is that, again, they maintained mostly that traditional layout. We really wanted that, but every room is private and you don't have that issue. The big way they were able to do that, we're going from one bedroom directly to another. And the way you do that is actually through a bathroom. So they put a Jack and Jill bath in between these two bedrooms. This serves as our guest bathroom and our son's bathroom as well. You can see he's into llamas. There's a lot of llama art in here, which we're all about. He's always very excited whenever he comes in here. So then from that, you go directly into his room, which is nice because each bedroom is accessible outside of the bathroom as well, but this is kind of the pass-through, the way they were able to get around that privacy issue. So this second bedroom, by the way, I didn't mention our house is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. This is our son's room currently. We painted it palm frond.
Yes.
We're very interested in and spend a lot of time kayaking, exploring the beautiful natural areas that we have around us here in New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana. And for his room, we were really inspired by kind of the swamp and the bayous and all of that. So that dark green really spoke to us. These photos above the crib I painted for him while I was expecting. This was my first foray into watercolors. And he seems really into them. He recently learned gator when we went to the dentist. They said, open your mouth big like a gator. And now every day he looks up at that and it's like, gator, opens his mouth. It's helpful as we learn to brush our teeth. Again, I keep mentioning those fireplaces. You have another one in this bedroom as well. You know, one of those things that you see with a lot of these historic homes where maybe there haven't been any additions built are the rooms are cozy, right? And it works for us. It means that you have to be kind of creative, especially when you have these barriers like 2 doors and 3 doors, because you also have the closet. You have a fireplace you have to work around, a window as well. But it's doable. And I think the benefits that you get from living in a historic home like this definitely outweigh that small challenge that I think you would expect.
Definitely.
Yeah. We also have in here, just because I know they mention the art whenever you can. I feel weird about saying, but I also did paint this one. And there's actually a funny story behind this larger one. Google Photos reminded me that exactly 2 years ago this week, I painted this. For anyone who knows our son's birthday, that means I was nearly 9 months pregnant when I painted this. It was the last to-do item for getting his room ready. And I had in mind that we were gonna paint this wonderful wetland landscape. So I got my easel ready in the backyard, which you'll see in a bit. I had my paints out. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start with the blue for the sky, right? So I started doing that. I'm 9 months pregnant, it's August. I was like, this isn't happening. Never mind, I'm feeling very Rothko. Light blue, dark blue, it's an abstract wetland. There we go, we're done. But actually, I kind of like it as well. So, fun fact, yeah, behind the scenes that most people don't know about that one. Anyways, we can keep kind of heading through. Other cool thing that I appreciate about our shotguns specifically is, side halls and different style shotguns I think all have their benefits. Ours is not a side hall. We actually don't have a lot of hallway space in this house at all. Given that this home, being a historic home in this neighborhood, it is a little smaller on square footage. And something we really loved is we don't dedicate a lot of that square footage to hallway space. Most of it is livable space. So actually, you're standing in what we always joke is our hallway. This is it, which I really appreciate. We've used this is Topher's idea to make a gallery wall for Archer as daycare starts sending home a lot of art. We've been changing that up pretty regularly.
All right, so from Archer's bedroom here, let's go ahead and circle back around onto the other side of the center wall, and let's take a look at the kitchen. So this is the kitchen that you saw from the entryway in onto the side of the double doors. And again, as Morgan mentioned, traditionally kitchens were at the back of the house to keep the heat of cooking at the back of the house, so that the rest of the house would be comfortable. We're really feeling the heat of cooking at the moment.
I'm prepping Sunday family dinner right now, so the oven is on.
Morgan has both the oven and the stovetop going.
That's why we're drinking. These Louisiana cocktails, honestly, are so refreshing. Especially, I can feel that when we're in the kitchen. I'm really happy that we're drinking these.
So, it's a very functional kitchen. very efficient on the layout, really happy with how it turned out. Key was having the center island, which is another Topher England original. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that one of my most important uses of the kitchen is making iced coffee. So
especially during the pandemic, we're making a lot at home.
Yeah, especially during the pandemic. So Coast Roast is just 2 blocks away, and they roast some of the best beans. So we're a big fan of Coast Roast and their Honduran blend specifically.
Legitimately, I think we go through one of these bags like every 2 weeks. They are getting us through the pandemic single-handedly.
Legitimately, when I went in and I bought the first 5-pound bag, they were like, "Are you sure?"
And yeah, they get it. We're drinking it now. We are.
So.
Yeah, even though some things are a little tighter again in some of these historic homes, I think you still have space for like fun and to make it good for a small family or a young family. For example, Archer has his own kitchen in the kitchen. Has been key lately in entertaining them while we're cooking dinner. And then of course, I'm gonna keep saying it because we have so many of them. You see that mirrored fireplace again. Coming through, we also have, you guys are probably gonna mention this huge art piece here. This is actually a collection of postcards that a lot of different people have sent us, but I would say 90% of them have come from our absolute best friends who are now up in New York, Brian and Kate. And we ended up with so many piles of postcards, we were like, what are we gonna do? So some corkboard here, and we've just been adding on as they keep sending them to us, and they send, little notes based on what's going on in life at the time, and it's been really nice. And then for the paint colors behind, so actually, and this is something we're going to talk about in just a moment, you're going to notice a little bit of wall damage every once in a while. For example, just up here, you can see this crack, and there are a few others. We've had a lot of foundation work done, and it was wrapped up literally days before quarantine started in early March. So while the paint color is a lovely warm white, it was there. Topher calls it contractor white.
Contractor white.
It was there when we bought the home 4 years ago. And we've actually been brainstorming in terms of what color we're going to replace it with once pandemic's over and we can have some painters in here. But for now, it's beautiful, warm, welcoming white. I think we're zooming in on some of the cracks right now. You will hear all about this adventure in historic home ownership shortly. All right, so if we continue back through our hallway. You can see, so as we kind of go through the hall, some other ways that this is kind of convenient and offers some storage that maybe we wouldn't have gotten with the original layout of the home is they kind of created this little room here, which is our laundry room, but actually has a good bit of storage space. It also houses a lot of like Topher's tools and different things, equipment.
We call it the garage, and if you look, seriously.
We do.
We don't have a garage, we have this.
That's exactly how it functions. There's the garage.
And it's right here on the left of the center dividing wall, and one of the cool things about it is this is kind of the original space that the bathroom was. So if we were to look at the original layout, where we were just standing in the kitchen was considered a bedroom. And then you had this hallway down the middle, and then you have a bathroom accessible from the hallway, and you went into another bedroom. So it was really entry room, bedroom, hallway with the bathroom, and then bedroom. So you're gonna see that, and they really kept that kind of bathroom area intact and converted it into a laundry room. And then they did something that I'm really appreciative of, and I think was a really good idea. They added on a half bath. So we have the Jack and Jill bath between the two bedrooms, and then we have our master bathroom, and then we have a half bath that's going to be accessible from this side one, the public side of the house. So really, I think the layout couldn't be better in having a clean dividing line between public and private space, and having everything you need on the public side of it. One of the other things that I really like about this layout is that it allows for a natural extension to the backyard. we've seen a lot of friends who have shotgun houses that were converted, and a lot of those houses have all the bedrooms kind of grouped at the back of the house. And what that means is you need to go through a bedroom to get to the backyard. And I like that this allows a very natural flow out to the backyard. So
yeah, I think it's a very smart use of, and efficient use of the space.
yeah, for sure.
And also for us too, I mean, it's our first home. I think for people who are maybe thinking about, oh, I'm interested in shotgun or a double shotgun, but I want to make it livable and workable, right? That is possible. Yes, with doing incredible like open concept, totally changing the layout in here. But it is also possible with just a few smart adjustments here and there. And I think that's what this house has done really well. So you can kind of see that half bath Topher was talking about as you come around the corner there. The half bath is just behind that door. And then back here, if I understand, Topher's a layout expert. So back here would have been the bedroom and kitchen originally, right?
And what's really interesting is the way they used to build houses was they would lay the floors and then build some of the interior walls. And if you look at the floor right here, you can see like the different discoloration all the way across from side to side where there used to be a dividing wall. Our dog Stella is currently laying on it, helpfully pointing out to you where the wall used to be.
Good job, Stella.
Yeah, and you can really see it all the way along this.
So also mentioning the floor is obviously original as well, which I think is great. And with, you know, little details like that, I think adds a lot of character as well. So obviously now what used to be these two rooms we use as our family room and kind of our main hangout space, and it functions really well for that. It also, kind of the elephant in the room, is our 14.5-foot kayak. It functions as the only place where you can realistically store this thing in this home, even though we do have these incredible 12-foot ceilings that I absolutely love. It's 14.5 feet. That's a no-go. So we decided to hang it up here, which given that, you know, I think if, for a lot of people, the theme of their home or how it ends up looking from a stylistic standpoint evolves over time, right? As you bring in things you love, and it's only in hindsight that you realize what your style or your theme is. Ours has definitely become like
swamp chic,
nature, water. I'm all about these different maps, especially maps like historic New Orleans, and you'll find a few of those throughout the house as well. But I think the kayak kind of does play into that theme that's evolved over time pretty well also.
So obviously you'll notice that water, and especially the Mississippi River and cartography, plays a big role in our decor. In our half bath, we've got a huge blue plan of New Orleans. Here we've got a smaller one in a custom frame that I built.
I love this one. Getting a sense of where we're at and where this neighborhood is, it's actually just off of this specific map, which is a little bit unfortunate. We are just over here, and our home is built in what used to be the Delachaise plantation. And we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but we're actually on the site for the old brickyard, which we've noticed. Over here, you can see more art. I'm going to sound like a broken record. We love to do a lot of art and carpentry and things in our free time. So I actually made this now over a decade ago when we were still in New Orleans. I was sitting on a front porch one night and painted it. It's kind of been with us ever since. Anything else in this room that you kind of wanted to mention?
All right. I think this is good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the master bedroom and suite. This takes up about a quarter of the house. So once again, we're on side 2. If you look back, you can see the central wall going along here. And so this used to be the back of the house for side 2.
So their kitchen.
So you can see from this line here where the wall used to be, this back used to be the kitchen. And then what our master, Stella, come on. The bathroom is where we used to have another bedroom. So this is also apparently our music room. We got very creative with where we were able to locate some of our instruments. So
this is where the piano fit.
This is where the piano fit.
But I've actually really loved having it in here for sure. Other things you'll notice in here, because I don't know if he would mention it, but another Topher creation that I absolutely love, and he was talking about the Mississippi River. This is a river shelf that he made He makes quite a few of these for friends and folks who make orders. But this is one of the original ones, and I absolutely love it. And I love that it's in here. I said river shelf. Obviously, it's holding books. It does function as a shelf as well, but also a really cool art piece that I really love. What else? Oh, we also made the headboard and the bed, and yeah, everything. And then if you come on in here, this is the master bath, which I think they did a wonderful job on. I had mentioned that fun fact about we have a lot of fireplaces and they're often mirrored on the other side. This is actually the location of a hidden fireplace behind the wall.
Yeah, so if you remember when we were going through the hallway into the family room, there was that fireplace on the left. That continued over on this side, but the state of it was such that they boxed it out and drywalled this. So this room is actually a little bit narrower than any other room in the house, which is kind of interesting. It feels really cramped in here, I know.
But it also allows more usable space, right? And I think that's an interesting workaround to think about. Again, these fireplaces can make it to where it's hard to lay out a room. They obviously wanted to put the double vanity here. We're able to do so once they covered up that fireplace. Some of the art that we did not make in the house, Topher does a lot of work with a team that's actually in Cairo, Egypt, and he's been out there for work before. And we have so many wonderful friends from Egypt, and they bring back a lot of incredible things all the time, including these two, which I really love. This whole bath space, by the way, was really, I remember when we were looking at the house, and I remember specifically walking in this room and looking around and being like, okay, yeah, this works. I can see myself here. I did not see a pandemic coming, and I can tell you, like, Morgan, pandemic self-care is definitely being in this bath, reading the Atlantic, like, good to go. So I really love that they included this as well when the house was redone, because it's absolutely what I would have chosen. Love the beautiful gray kind of minimalist marble as well. I think they did a really nice job. All right, so do you want to head into the room here?
Sure. I think one other thing that I wanted to mention, and we're definitely not going to open up this door, but off of the bathroom is the walk-in closet. It's kind of one of the interesting things from an architectural standpoint is that you'll notice the flooring in both the master closet here and over in the laundry room is the only flooring that's not the original hardwood. And so that's one of the, the downsides of having an old house that has water issues over time. A lot of the natural original hardwood in those bathrooms was beyond saving. And so we do have in here, we do have new flooring, and in the laundry room we do have new flooring.
The garage.
The garage. And it's very interesting to see that perfectly mirrored on either side of that center dividing wall.
All these hints of what the home originally, what it originally was.
So they're everywhere. You just have to look down.
It's a fun puzzle all the time, as you explore and get to know these houses and kind of learn more about what they've been through over the years, I think. So heading back into our room is kind of interesting because we kind of hinted at this foundation work that we ended up having to do literally in the 2 weeks between Mardi Gras and the pandemic or quarantine really getting going in New Orleans. So it was a scramble to be doing that, but you can see a lot of the evidence of that in our room specifically, I think is the easiest place to see it. So we thought this would be a nice time to talk about it. You're going to notice a lot of the cracks on the walls here, kind of all over the place. Especially in the back corners. Right.
So what we discovered in owning a historic home is that the truth is they're old, right? And you're going to have to do some maintenance over time. And if there's been deferred maintenance, you're going to have to kind of catch up on some of that. And especially in a foundation, that's not a particularly visible maintenance item until it becomes important. So these houses have very straightforward foundation. They have 3 beams going down, one on either side and one down the middle, on piers with joists in between. And what we discovered was that the ends of the joists in particular were starting to rot out. And what that meant was we didn't have good contact between the joist and the beam. And so the house kind of floated a little bit.
We saw some photos of this from the inspector, and literally the house was floating. And I remember asking the question, I'm not as knowledgeable on these things. I now, having gone through this experience, feel I know a bit more about foundations. But I was looking at that and I was like, what's our house standing on? Like, it can't just magically float in the air. How's this working? And he was like, honestly, it's floating on 100 years. Like, eventually something's going to happen, though. So we had to do the work.
So, and what's interesting is as it's floating, it allows for movement. And movement is actually one of the things that causes the damage. So as, you know, the garbage truck, or we live right across from the school, as school buses drive by and they cause some vibration, that vibration can be amplified if the joist isn't sitting firmly on the sill. And so that's where a lot of these cracks originated. So what we had done was we went and we had them all sistered. And that means we went in and added an additional joist next to each of the ones that had rotted out ends, and we combined them.
I think of it like a wooden joist Band-Aid.
Yes.
How I kept thinking about it.
The original work that was done put on very, very short sisters just at the ends that were insufficient. And so we went back and had them fully redone with full span sisters from sill to sill. And one of the interesting findings during this process was we used to have a fireplace right about here. And remember, we're standing in the kitchens. So this was a slightly smaller fireplace than the others, and it was used for the purposes of cooking originally. And so that fireplace was removed. And when it was removed, they kind of just left a gap in the sill from where that fireplace started to where this one should have started, and then all the way back. And so one of the things that we had to fix was we had to add it back in a sill and add in joists, because we had this huge gap under here where, again, we were floating on almost nothing.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of it was when they did that, it was by small degrees. I mean, essentially lifting this center wall that has been here forever and we still rely. It did lift it a little bit. And I was actually home one of the days they were doing that work. I didn't realize that's what was about to happen. And I was standing just about where the camera is now and heard a loud noise and felt it. Everything came up a little bit, and then a lot of these cracks actually ended up appearing. So lessons learned with this. First, with the foundation, you know, as I said, I'll admit I'm the first to say that I'm not exactly a foundation expert. And we've noticed the hints that something was wrong over time. We've had the house for 4 years, and we did start noticing little cracks here and there. Being in New Orleans, not knowledgeable on these things, I assumed it must be water related. So
Also,
right? Near windows.
Also, with some of the original lath and plaster, you're
Right.
going to get some cracks.
Yeah, that's just something we need to expect with an old home. So first, we were kind of brushing it off. And then they got worse. And as the problem kind of went on, and then the school buses are driving by, the speed of damage started accelerating. We were like, holy cow, something's really wrong. We have to get somebody in here. And we had a wonderful inspector who took the time to really go under the house and look at each of these joists. And that was key. I mean, definitely make sure that inspector is getting way under there and doing that work, because that was the only way he said he was able to notice a lot of the damage was really going far under there.
That inspector he went above and beyond. Like,
Yeah.
truly, he was here so long.
He was here for like 10 hours. We bought him a pizza. He had dinner with us.
Yeah.
Obviously pre-COVID.
If I'm remembering correctly, his name is Gregory Fiero.
Yes, I think so. They're with House Call.
Yeah. He's a younger guy
Gregory's
over at
biggest
House
fan.
Call.
Yeah. He's kind of like the third property brother. He looks just like them. So you'll know you have the right guy when you see a property brother walk in and spend 10 hours under your house. But recommend, like, far and beyond incredible. So now, I mean, it doesn't look great. It definitely looks historic because you see a lot of the distress, like cracks and all of that. The last kind of thing that we learned with foundations is after the work has been done, you need to wait at least a month for the house to settle, right? And you're going to see additional cracking happen. So don't fix this stuff until at least a good month afterwards. Obviously, you know the timeline by this point. This all happened in early March. We're now waiting for the end of the pandemic to have folks come in here to actually help us fix the cracks.
The good news is that the cracks have stabilized.
Yeah,
right?
we're not seeing new ones.
They're not
Thank
getting
goodness.
bigger. We're not seeing new ones.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
You know, who knows? You know, as we, you know, continue to live in this house, I'm sure we'll see more cracks and we'll have to get those fixed. But it's New Orleans. It's a historic house.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, fixing a foundation sounds scary. It wasn't terrible.
No.
And I think well worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
for everything, all the benefits we get from something,
The
a place
peace of
like
mind.
this, the peace of mind, yes. But also, I think these older historic homes are worth it. And you buy them knowing you're going to have to do these little things over time, but the value far outweighs, I think, what we have to put in for that fix. So coming back here, speaking of fixes and projects and everything, we'll show you kind of fun behind the scenes what we've been working on throughout the pandemic. If you want to join us to the backyard. By the way, paint colors, since we're kind of talking about it, you know, we're kind of waiting to fix, again, more cracking and everything for the walls, but trim is what, Silver City?
Silver City.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed it. And you see that in the front too with the dining room. All right, so coming into the backyard, obviously now we're looking at the full width of the double shotgun house. And this is what we've been working on since June, just the two of us, again, because we are being pretty careful with the pandemic and regulations. So you'll notice down here, there's a paver patio. That paver patio used to be under the deck that we're currently standing on. We decided that come fall, when the weather is bearable, we're gonna want more outdoor space to really enjoy. So Topher and I dug up this whole area over here, moved the paver patio over there, and then built this deck, which we're putting the finishing touches on right now. So this has been every weekend since June.
She says dug up like it was easy.
No, hardest thing I've ever done in my life, never happening again. You heard it here first.
As a reminder, we live on what used to be the Delachase plantation, and specifically the brickyard part of it. And when we were digging up what used to be a lawn that failed to thrive, we uncovered a lot of bricks.
So many, going down forever, bricks upon bricks. We saved a few of them because it is pretty cool. And actually some interesting history there. So a lot of the houses that are on the former Delachase plantation were actually built a few decades, is my understanding, before our house and some of our neighbors were as well. They were built, but the brickyard stayed, and they actually tried to have this be a commercial operation for a little while. I think they were calling them Delachase bricks. The issue was they were using Mississippi River mud, which does not make the strongest bricks. And there's some articles, if you look it up in the old Times Pick, of buildings built with these bricks falling down. So the brickyard didn't make it too long. And then our house was built in 1916, one of the few in the area that was built after the turn of the century for that reason. But anyways, yeah, we've definitely seen evidence of the brickyard. But we have that patio here. We have the deck that we're now going to be able to use. We're looking forward to getting it finished and furnished before the weather gets comfortable so we can spend some time. And finally, the beautiful shade trees, which I love. Helps make it bearable out here.
Definitely.
Do you want to head kind of to the front of the house and maybe answer some questions?
Yeah, I think that's a good time. And it is hot out here, and you can hear the AC running. So
Actually,
I know the
that's an
audio is not very
interesting
good
thing
here.
that's been done too. You can see with the neighbor's house and ours as well. Again, wanting to use space efficiently with these historic homes, they went ahead and put the AC unit up there, which can seem kind of sketchy, but Topher has assured me is very safe. So another way that we're able to get some of that space back and use this space, I think, in a really smart way. You want to head up front?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
As Topher and Morgan take us to the front of the house, for all of you who have remaining questions, please send them in now so that once they get settled, we can start with some great questions.
Well, we did that. I think I'm topping off my TV. It was hot.
Yes, please.
All right.
Well, this has been so enjoyable, you guys. Thank you so much. And you're such natural hosts. I've got to say, do y'all do this often? Because this was flawless.
Well, I will say we're both from the Bay Area in California, Northern California. So we're lucky to have a lot of friends and family who are not New Orleans natives, just like we aren't either, come and stay with us and visit. So we have had to kind of describe, you know, these are very different and special homes that we have here versus where we grew up in a lot of places in this country.
I don't think anybody in our family had heard of a shotgun home until we told them about it.
No, and actually I think my mom was a little alarmed. So quick, like childhood story for me, you know, when you're a little kid and you want to sit in the front seat of the car, so you yell shotgun. My California, absolutely love her to death, of course, mom was a little weirded out by her children screaming shotgun all the time. So she changed it to water gun, and we had to yell water gun when we wanted to sit in front. So we told family that we were going to live in a shotgun house. They were like, come again? So.
That is so great. I love it. I read in our magazine profile of you guys that you both came to New Orleans originally to attend Tulane. What made you stay here?
We didn't. So, a fun fact. We stuck to our plan, which was to go to school, get our degrees, and we're disgusting childhood sweethearts.
We've known each other since high school. Yes.
We started dating in high school. We both came to Tulane. Morgan is 2 years younger than me, so that, you know, there was some staggered school years there.
This is where he's trying to hit that he thinks I followed him.
She followed me, and we decided we're moving back to California. We love it so much in California. Growing up there was wonderful. And then we did. We moved back to California after college.
We made it maybe a year?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. And it wasn't so much that anything was wrong out there. Far from it. We all know that's an absolutely beautiful area. And of course, we love being in family. And it's a great place. And I like to say that we call 2 incredible places home. And we're very lucky for that. But I think you don't realize what you have and you don't appreciate an incredible, quirky, weird, wonderful place like this until you leave. So we left, and I think we were both really feeling like, especially in that time, that was just a little bit out of post-Katrina and with a lot of things going on in the city and the incredible community that I think that fostered. It's a really great place to be a young adult. It's a really good place to make your home, your first home, or maybe your forever home. So
I also want to add that there are few places in the country that have such rich history and culture and like vibrancy that you get here in New Orleans. We've got our 2 dogs, and well, I think so. I've only seen one recently. And you know, we go for walks in the neighborhood all the time, and just a constant topic of conversation is, oh, look at that house. I wonder what that was originally like. Ooh, I really like the millwork on that one. So being able to walk through these historic neighborhoods with really interesting architecture and detail work just adds so much, you know, joie de vivre of life. So
that and front porch culture here, I will say. So we obviously have the front porch, and a lot of folks do. We talk about this all the time. Again, love going back to California. Mom, I know you're there. Love visiting people, love walking around. But we always talk about when we're there, like, where are the front porches? I would really miss that. Were we back there? Because doing these walks, even August in New Orleans, it's hot. Folks are out, you know, and they're saying hi, and it builds community so easily. And I think that's something that we really value. And our son does too. Again, he's almost 2. He's just starting to speak, but he already knows to wave to people. He says hi to all of them. He blows kisses as we go by. He's a ham. But front porch culture, I think, is super valuable to me.
So valuable to her that our son turns 2 in about a week, and we got him a gift, and it's a front porch rocking chair.
Oh yeah, 2-year-old size. Keep it quiet. Don't tell him the secret, right? But
keep the secret until his birthday. But
yeah, it's all those pieces I think come together to make this a really special place.
That's adorable. What attracted you to this portion of Uptown?
What didn't? I love this neighborhood. Walkability.
The walkability is fantastic. Like I said, we take our twice daily dog walks, but I'd also like to point out that we are just upriver of the Irish Channel.
Yeah, by a few blocks.
By a few blocks. And so you get a lot of the same accessibility to the nightlife, the restaurants, the shopping. that you get in the Irish Channel, but it's a little bit quieter here. So we really appreciate having that accessibility, but also having it be a little bit quieter. Now, obviously, we haven't been able to take advantage of that recently a whole lot, but it's still, you know, there's still Magazine Street is just so rich in what it offers.
It's nice during normal times to have, and most weekends we don't get in the car. You know, we can go do everything we need to do in the weekend. We can go to the grocery store, coffee shop, all these different places. And, you know, you walk or maybe bike. I will also say, I don't want to make it sound like we were specifically searching just in this neighborhood and we found this house and everything, because that would be a lie. One of the other things we love about this neighborhood are incredible friends, specifically the friend who found this house for us.
Yes.
And this is kind of a heads up for folks in terms of the housing market, which obviously things are generally kind of volatile, but, you know, incredible places can go really quickly in New Orleans. And our really good friend, who now is our neighbor just 3 blocks down, was on a run one morning and noticed this house. It seemed like it was just finishing having some work done. So he kind of walked up and they let him walk through and he saw it and they said, yeah, it's going to be listed soon. And he called Topher right away and was like, man, this house seems like it would be perfect for you guys. I didn't know we were looking. I don't know that we knew we were looking yet, but we were kind of generally thinking about it, right?
She also wasn't in town. She was on a business trip.
I was in Miami on a business trip. So I got a phone call. This usually is not how we work at all. Like Topher does not just do the thing and, you know, without discussing it first, but he gave me a call and I was actually at kind of a cocktail hour talking then boss in Miami. He was like, hey, we put an offer in on a house. I was like, we're home shopping and we're buying one? Like, what the heck are you talking about right now? Where is it? I remember was my first question. And when he said where it was, my heart went down a little bit because we do absolutely love this neighborhood. But then he assured me, you know, we can always back out. It's early enough, but it's going to be listed very soon. I think this was the day before it was going to be listed, and it seems like it's going to be popular. It's in a wonderful area.
And 2 days before the open house, and there was a 48-hour response on offers.
Yeah,
so like the timing was just right.
Yeah. But I don't want to not give credit to that friend as well who helped us find this house. That timing was really important.
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. So had the home just been renovated or did you all come in and do any of the work yourself?
It had just been renovated. We've done little things here and there, but for the most part, they had done a really good job. Foundation could have been better, but generally they did a really good job.
That was actually one of the questions from one of the viewers was, did your initial inspection of the home reveal those foundation issues or did it accelerate after you purchased the home?
So it did reveal some of the foundation issues, and part of the inspection response was to get those remedied. And so I alluded to it earlier. They did quote unquote remedy them, right? They did add some sisters that were too short and insufficiently attached. But on first blush, you know, they quote unquote addressed the issue.
And that's kind of why I mentioned Gregory, remember the third property brother, our incredible inspector who helped us more recently figure out the true issue. You know, after that work had been done, they kind of did a quick look and from the outside, it looked fine. It looked remedied, right? Gregory is the one who really helped us learn, no, you really need to have an inspector go under there, take their time, be real detailed with these things, especially with these historic homes. You need to check. And that's where he found that really the issues were still there.
Got it. In terms of the renovation, was insulation added? Do you all know?
We do know the answer.
So, and yeah, the answer is yes. And in most of the exterior walls that were open, insulation was added. However, does it do anything? And I say that because keep in mind we have the original hardwood floors, and there's no subflooring beneath them. It's literally just the hardwood floor on top of the joist.
So also no insulation on there,
so
no spray foam.
There's no insulation under the floor. We do have insulation up in the attic, so we do have blown insulation up in the attic. But these homes were originally designed and built in a time when there wasn't air conditioning. And so the actual design of these homes is such that it draws air up through the exterior walls and out through the attic so that you can get a circulation effect going And so it's incredibly hard to counteract that sometimes. But that's one of the reasons why you have that open airflow underneath the house, and you have the walls built the way they are. So yes, there is insulation now in the exterior walls. We do have the blown insulation up top. It's going to leak.
Yeah,
right?
If anyone out there has an opportunity to somehow insulate underneath, do it. That's definitely on our to-do list at some point.
Yeah, it's on our to-do list. Many years in the future.
Yeah, a few years removed from the foundation. I hear stuff.
Tell us about the walls really quickly. You mentioned at one point that you still had the original plaster, and if that's true, I'm very impressed.
Yes, so it's interesting. We've noticed a couple places where we've had the original plaster. So we've added a couple junction boxes. We have a little electrical work done, and so you can, when you really cut in, you can see extremely well. One of the more interesting areas we have the original plaster is actually on the ceilings. Mm-hmm. And so we added I don't know if you guys saw in the video, we added a fan into the back family room, a ceiling fan. And you can, like when we went to have that installed, you could see the lap plaster and then additional drywall. So, you know, the exterior walls that weren't opened still have that lath and plaster. Some of the interior walls, especially the center wall that wasn't opened, has lath and plaster. Especially on the second side of the center wall, so on that bedroom side where they had to reconfigure a couple of the walls for like the jack and go bathroom or the master bathroom and bedroom. Those have kind of more modern traditional stud and gypsum board. So, but it really kind of flows where they kept walls intact that we have the original lath and plaster.
How interesting. What's the total square footage of the home? And in the 4 years since you've lived there, have you changed the layout, like the order of the rooms?
So the square footage is, I think, 1565, so just under 1,600 square feet. And we did we played around with a couple different layouts. So we're currently sitting in the dining room. It's immediately adjacent to the kitchen, and it just makes sense. But we did used to have the dining room in the back.
Yeah,
so that much larger
is,
family room, we tried to divide that into a dining room and a family room to have a more formal sitting room up here in the front.
We did that for a while, and actually I thought about this when we were opening pocket doors earlier. In the past when we've had a number of guests, so again, you think like Mardi Gras or something, we've actually had folks sleep on the couch that used to be in this front room here. And the way we were able to make that a little more private was close the pocket doors. And, you know, I think with putting the dining room and family room in the back in the same room, we were kind of going for more of that open concept. What we came to find is, while wonderful, there is something to be said for separate rooms, I think, having their separate purpose. I really now enjoy having the dining room up here and the feeling, and I think the special vibe, I was gonna say specialness, that's not a word, that gives to some dinners, I think is kind of nice to have a dedicated dining room, so I'm enjoying this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Although Thanksgiving we'll move the table back there and remove all the furniture
and everyone
extend the table, add in, you know, the
2021.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
2021.
Yeah, true. My gosh, I can't wait for that. Tell us a little bit about the windows. It's wonderful to see so much historic elements throughout the homes, the door frames, the pocket doors. It's wonderful. Are your windows original as well?
Yes.
They are.
So I'm going to call my grandma out on this.
She's in Chicago.
And she's visited and she stayed in our guest room and she kind of threw some shade. She said, historic home, it's renovated. And my mom countered, well, but the windows and the floor are original. And she said, those windows are original, but they could be used, like they could use to replace them.
I love them. I love the character.
So they're the single hung original windows. Almost all of them still open, which is fantastic. And actually, going back to foundation, One of the early indicators that there has been a foundation issue is whether the windows are stuck.
Right.
Like, I'm not talking about painted shut. I'm talking about, like,
You can feel resistance.
you can feel resistance as you're trying to go up because they're no longer square. So that's a really good indication of potential foundation issues. Almost all of ours still open. The ones that don't, we've either lost the sash cord, and so there's nothing that keeps them open, or they've been painted shut. I think that's only like 2 or 3 of them.
Most of them have been.
So,
And I agree with you. Like, I love all those details. I love that we have that original floor, the windows, but even looking at all the trim work and everything, it's a cool place.
The fact that you can still open the windows is fantastic. So many of these historic homes have their windows painted shut. So that is a huge benefit for you all. And we have lots of literature about how historic windows are more energy efficient in the long run, and a better investment in the long run that we can send to your grandmother if you'd like. Well, you guys, we've had an amazing time touring your home. We're so grateful. We had so many comments about how beautiful your house is, how beautiful your artwork is, and just what a beautiful livable space your home is. So we're so grateful that you all had us here today. I'm wondering in our very last moment if you'd be willing to take us out onto your front porch, so we could get a look at the front of the house as we say goodbye to you.
For sure, would love to. Because this is an FAQ we get, the door is Blue Lobster, if anyone is looking. I think Topher loved the color just as much as the name when we painted that when we first moved in, one of the first things we did.
Morgan, someone else asked about the color of your son's room again. I know you mentioned it. Can you tell us again what it was called?
Front.
yeah,
Appropriately named, for sure.
for sure.
Well, and thank you for having us and exploring our house with us a little bit. It's a place we obviously love a lot, have been putting a lot of time and effort into, and it's nice to be able to share it with you guys and have others appreciate it as well. So thank you.
It was absolutely gorgeous. Thank you both so much for your time. Danielle, could you zoom out a little bit so we can see the front of the house?
Oh yeah, and keep in mind, secret.
Yeah, that's a secret.
Oh, it looks great. It looks so great. Thank you all. All right, I want to thank all of you again so much for joining us for this week's Shotgun Sunday. Thank you so much to Morgan and Topher for inviting us into their beautiful home in Uptown New Orleans. That was such a special treat. Thank you to Danielle Watson for doing a wonderful job on today's videography, and for Davis Allen, both of whom are wonderful PRC staff members, for making today's production possible. Thanks so much to all of you who watched, who sent in comments and questions. It's so wonderful to interact with you all. Don't forget to visit us at prcno.org to support our wonderful 46-year-old nonprofit. And join us next week, which is going to be our last Shotgun Sunday, featuring, let's see, the home of Adam and Elizabeth Keckler. It's going to be really wonderful. So next week, August 23rd at 4 p.m. We look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.